life. Ferndean House, located at 23 Wolf Lane, was situated on 20 acres of land that boasted a good-sized pond, a stop-off for migrating birds in autumn and home to peepers in early spring, monumental oak, pine, and maple trees, and a profusion of native ferns, high and low-bush blueberry bushes, and flowering shrubs such as azalea and rhododendron. The house itself was about 3,000 square feet, with 2 floors of rooms and an attic that had formerly served as servants' quarters. There was a big stone fireplace in the living room, a charming front porch that ran the entire length of the house, a back deck that had been added at some point in the 1940s, a large flower and kitchen garden, and the puzzling remains of a stone structure set at one end of the large lawn that stretched behind the house. Ferndean had been built by Carol and Bonnie's great-grandfather for his much younger third wife. He had named the structure after the house in Jane Eyre, where Jane and the blind and crippled Mr. Rochester were reunited. The novel, only recently published, had been his wife's favorite. Indeed, it was Bonnie's favorite novel, too. Marcus and Rosemary's wedding portrait, taken in June of 1848, still hung in Ferndean's living room, in what Bonnie had been told was its original frame. After Shirley Ascher's death some 30 years earlier, Bonnie and her sister, in a rare instance of accord, had decided to rent the big house during part of the summer season. It would be a good source of income, most of which would go toward the upkeep of the old place. What was left over was pure profit. That profit benefited Bonnie and her family enormously, but Carol, who didn't need an additional source of income, routinely put her share back into the fund kept for the maintenance of the building and grounds. Taking up full-time residency at Ferndean House would eliminate the income from seasonal renters, but Bonnie wasn't concerned. She would have cash from the sale of the cottage. Besides, she was not an extravagant person. Her needs were small, and she was used to living on a tight budget. All would be well going forward. It would have to be well, Bonnie thought as she left the dining room, because she thoroughly believed that she was entitled to full possession of Ferndean. She was the one who had cared for Shirley Ascher in her dying years. She was the one who had helped to raise Carol's troubled daughter, Nicola. She was the one who had handled the management and maintenance of the family homestead for the past 30 years. Who had changed Shirley Ascher's soiled sheets, prepared her meals, and taken charge of administering her medicines? Who had attended Nicola's school events from the time she came to live with her aunt in Yorktide? Who had cleaned up when Ferndean's pipes had burst? Who had mowed the lawn, planted the flowers, harvested the herbs and vegetables? Who had repainted the kitchen and bathrooms every 10 years? Who had dealt with the summer tenants, finding them, vetting them, cleaning up after them? Bonnie fondly patted the curved wooden banister of the grand staircase that led to the second floor. Yes, after all these years as full-time caretaker of her family homestead, Bonnie Ascher Elgort was entitled to be mistress of Ferndean. It was something she had been dreaming about for a long time, pushing aside Carol's claim to the house and reigning supreme. But Ken had always held her back from making waves with her sister. Ken, the calm and reasonable husband, the broker of peace, the man who had wholeheartedly accepted Carol's troubled child into his home. And Carol Ascher hadn't even had enough respect for such a wonderful man to attend his funeral. But now that Ken was gone, there was no one to keep Bonnie from achieving her dream. That the dream was largely fueled by ancient sibling rivalry didn't make it any less desirable. On the contrary, ancient sibling rivalry gave Bonnie's dream its incredible power. In the living room now, Bonnie straightened the framed photos that were grouped on a table draped with a yellowed lace cloth. The entire family was represented, from Marcus and Rosemary to Bonnie's granddaughter Sophie. Bonnie was especially fond of her parents' wedding portrait. Both looked so young and so solemn. And here was a photograph of Bonnie and Carol, taken when they were quite young, 3 and 6, Bonnie guessed. The girls were wearing bulky snowsuits. Behind them, Ferndean House, laced with snow, rose in its classic New England majesty. The image was a bittersweet reminder of the happy